I'm a center coordinating tutor for NACAO division who works together with the supervisory team at the NACAO division. Of RICA, I've liked it so much. It's different from the trainings I've attended, and it's easing my work now, because when I go to class, I would know what I'm supposed to supervise as far as that teaching is concerned, of new words and all that. And their teaching, what I've liked, they have given us different ways. You're teaching new words to these learners, and there are some words which are not easy to let learners conceptualize. You can use actions, you can use pictorial, and a child is able to get the word and the meaning. So it's easing teachers' work as well, and I've learned a lot. I'm now equipped.
My name is Lilia Sande. I'm the head teacher at St. Peter's Nursery. My school is located along Opandini Mission Road, opposite Awindiri Market in Paridi Village. I want to thank the facilitator, more especially, for the wonderful teaching. We have learned a lot as a school, and we promise we're going to implement whatever we have learned. We have been doing reading, but not up to the expectation. But after this workshop, I know with my teachers, we are going to improve a lot. Me especially, I've learned about the teaching styles. Before, we've been teaching reading, but we have not been applying all the styles. I think from here, we are going to start applying all the reading styles as we teach our learners how to read.
The RICA approach is different from many other workshops that I have attended in a way that is more elaborate. It goes deep to explain the method or the approach to use for easy teaching of reading. Because you segment a word, break it into simple, readable formats. So it helps a child to learn how to read. If you leave the word as it is, even for us big people, adults, it can be very difficult to read. So when they segment it, it breaks the word down and it helps the children to easily learn reading. It makes reading easy.
Watching this video is a sign that you would like to improve when it comes to teaching reading. I'm teacher Peter Okware. Today I'm going to take you through the RICA approach. Now today we see so many teachers, parents and schools doing all what it takes to see that children can read, but at times we rarely see the tangible results. And that's why with the RICA approach, we strongly believe that any child can read. And these are some of your expectations. In this session, the online session, you're going to learn how to simplify reading, how you can enable a child gain the reading confidence so that they can read within a short period of time, and how to teach reading in a contextualized way. Contextualized simply means local. Now with the RICA approach, we have trained over 125,000 teachers all over the country and outside the country, and we have registered tremendous success.
I'm Hope Serandeke, Director Mukama High School. It's found in Kasanje. The RICA approach is really a very interesting approach. It is very beneficial. It helps people catch up with reading at whatever level they could be found at. There is no need of pulling a P7 child back to baby class because they have problems with reading. No, wherever they are, if you catch up with the RICA, you will always help those pupils wherever they are. Even if children are in secondary school, but they missed it because of certain issues, because of certain factors that could have befell them. The RICA will always catch up with with you wherever you are, at whatever level you are. That's in brief, that's what I came to realize. That's why I really loved it, because I was struggling. We could, in the admissions, we could get children who they're in P5 but they can't read. So we have to organize now programs for them. The time is not there, as you know, how the program is really tight. So when I met RICA Approach, I was really helped, because now I know how we can help people at different levels.
My name is Okiria David, Farm Foundation Luwowa. We sent our teachers to attend a workshop that you guys organized, and it was still on the RICA, and it's really helpful in that children who are not able to read as much as it's expected are now able to catch up, because we actually designed a morning program for our children. They come in the morning, and then we gather them and have this reading in the morning, so they are taken through different ways that the teachers got from here, so they are able to implement back there. So it's really helpful.
First thing we have to realize as teachers, as a nation, as schools, we must emphasize reading to avoid cheating of exams.
The RICA approach is much better. It's much better. Within 1 week, the whole school changed.
I feel happy that I can read these days, and I thank Madam Agnes for teaching me how to make me to read hard words. And I thank her also for teaching me how to spell and write words.
I'm here when I don't know how to write the SP of doubt, but really she have told me. Now, right now, I can write the SP of drought, and I'm so proud of her. And I will not forget that word, drought.
If you train a teacher, you have trained them. So I think they should invest much in training teachers, get in touch with the teen, because really they are doing a tremendous job.
So we are going to use some of the strategies and the methodologies that have supported other children and other schools learn how to read. First and foremost, for you to proceed to the next session, you have to first watch and learn this entire session, and then do the test at the end of the session. Then you can proceed to the next session. That's how it is. And at the end of the day, we are giving you what we call our expectation. Every child, they will know how to read. That's the first thing. Then, as a teacher, you'll also know how to teach reading organically. So we are going to start with firstly identifying what is RICA in full. RICA stands for, it is RICA, it's an acronym of reading, implementation, campus, and the A stands for approach. Now, what do they mean? In order for children to learn how to read, at least we always encourage schools to have what we call an approach. Now, it's not all about just saying, I'm going to teach sounds. Today, we ask so many schools, which approach are you using to teach reading? A person will tell you, we are using syllabic. Another one will tell you, we are using sound, but those are not approaches. So it's all about knowing which approach are you using that can support your children learn how to read. And we greatly assure you that if you watch this entire course and extremely understand every section, we give you assurance that within the first 2 weeks, your child will be able to read. So now, why do we call this approach RICA? Now, reading, the main objective why children come to school, they come to school not to just learn sounds. Like whereby people say sound, 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 sound. It's not sounding. The main purpose is for them to learn how to read. But how do they learn how to read? But before we reach even on how they learn how to read, we also strongly believe that reading is the mother of all subjects. It is the foundation that lays a clear ground for all subjects. So, if we are to enable our children read organically, it has to start with reading. And why? You find that in all subjects we have reading. We have reading in math, we have reading in English, we have reading in social studies, that is history, we have reading in science. Where there is reading, there is learning. And if children struggle with reading, it simply means whatever you teach them, they will not understand it. So firstly, this is our introduction session that at least is going to usher us into the next segment or into the next section. Now, implementation. What does it mean? Now, in order for anything to create meaning, people have to implement. Example, if a person gets sick and they go to the hospital and they are given medicine, a doctor giving you or prescribing any medicine is not a guarantee that you're going to become okay. But the guarantee that you have is if you are given those tablets or the medicine and then you swallow them based on the doctor's prescription, chances are very high that you'll become okay. So that is the implementation. Now, the biggest challenge today with so many teachers is when they learn the things, they don't implement, and people are busy in their comfort zones. So there can never be any improvements where there is no implementation. And we have also, out of our feedback, we found out that schools that do implement our approach, 95% of them have registered great success.
I would like to talk about the reading implementation campus approach, which has benefited our school, our learners, our teachers, even myself as an administrator.
Read for us the word. Then you explain, is this, you tell us the sound and the word. Is that the word cup? Which sounds are those? Tell me.
Soundic.
Sound what?
Soundic.
And sound.
Sound.
And sound.
Soundip.
Wonderful.
It has benefited me positively in that even when a teacher is absent, I can teach very well, which was not the case before knowing about this RICA approach. Before we were teaching using different methods, using letters, but with RICA, I believe we are destined for greatness as a school.
Ever since we joined Teachers in Need, things have been changing a lot for us. Not too bad, but for the better. For the better, and now I'm giving children what I really understand. I started from baby class, right now I'm in middle class, because the Teachers in Need, they came here and helped us. The first time Teacher Peter came here, it was really bad for us because we didn't know anything about sounds. We could only give children about like letters, and some of them were in top class, but they couldn't read. But right now I'm speaking from middle class. My students can read well and they understand what they learn from us.
You can't just say that you want to reach USA and just board a plane and it doesn't take off. The plane has to take off and it has to take the right direction that goes to USA. That's the same thing with implementation. So regardless of how simplified this content might be, it is our collective responsibility as teachers to become implementers. Now, the more we implement is the more children we learn. So that's why we strongly believe that the RICA approach is purely an implementation approach. If you don't implement, don't expect any success. Then campus. Now campus, here the teacher becomes more of the campus. Now this is more of the teacher, like the teacher becomes, yes, this is the teacher. You become the campus. What does it mean? In most cases, you find that any ship, any plane, for it to reach where it is going, there should be a pilot. Now here you are the campus, you are like more of that pilot as the teacher. Children can't learn how to read beyond the level of their teachers. So it has to start with the teachers. Today we have so many questions that people always ask themselves. Why can't children read? And we always blame the learners. But as teachers, we came up with a conclusion that in most cases children can't read. It's simply because of us, the teachers and the schools. Now you as the campus, if you find that the teacher is more informed, those kids tend to read, or those children tend to read compared to those ones whereby the teacher is struggling. We go to schools and you find that the teachers at times, you ask them sounds, you ask them which approach are using, and they are grappling. Now in that environment, don't expect children to learn how to read if even the teachers themselves are struggling. So you as a teacher, you should be the compass, the direction. Firstly, you have to have a comprehensive knowledge and understanding about reading. Not only knowledge on sounds alone. Today, so many people are filled with only sounds and they believe that children will read just if they know sounds. Now, that's why we believe that you as a teacher, you become more of the compass. Then the approach. Approach is more of a methodology. It's a method. A method or methodology. Like any other method. We have so many methods of teaching reading. Now, what qualifies something to become a method? Something can qualify to become a method based on the tests and trials and the systematic strategies without copying. Now, with the RICA approach, it is a systematic approach which doesn't copy any independent approach because there are so many approaches that we know, but we don't copy them. We just sat down and took over 10 years to build this approach, and currently we are seeing it helping children and it is helping schools to learn how to teach reading. First and foremost, what qualifies anything to become an approach is simply it has to be firstly sustainable, and it has to have a plan or a program or a systematic, it has to have a systematic flow. From here you go to this, from this you go to this, from this you go to this. And then finally it has to be tried and tested. Yes, we have worked with so many schools, as you will hear what some of the teachers will say at the end of this session. Those ones who have used the RICA approach, you'll get to hear their testimonies and also majorly get to understand exactly what schools have to say about it. And purely we have testimonies mainly from schools that do one thing, that do implement. If you don't implement, however much you take this course, it will not add any value to you because you have not implemented as a school. So implementation is very, very important. Tell your neighbor implementation is very, very important. Now, these words, they carry a lot of weight. RICA, reading, implementation, compass, approach. Now you have said approach is a method, compass is the direction, and that direction you are the teacher. You are going to direct your learners. You are the school has to direct the learners. Then you are the parent you're going to direct the learners. So any person who takes on the role of teaching the child how to read, you become more of the compass. Yes. Then implementation, you have to implement. You have to practice. I would use the word practice, at least to simplify it. Practice. You have to practice. And practice, we encourage. People always ask us, yes, even if I have learned the RICA approach, is it okay if we teach reading once a week? No. Reading has to be practiced on a daily basis, the way how you eat on a daily basis. If you want your children to become perfect, also let them practice reading on a daily basis. Let me hope we are together. And if the speed is okay, can you let me know? Yes. Now, another thing, reading. Now, today most people confuse reading and sounds. People have this feeling that if I know my sounds, I can teach reading. And we always tell teachers and educators and parents that it is very different. That's why we have the word reading, not sounding. Now, sounds or phonetics or the phonemic awareness, they just help us to at least understand. Sounds contribute 60% to supporting children learn how to read. But the 40%, which is very crucial, it is not in sounds. It is in other things that we shall be looking at. And one of it is the strategies that the person uses, the principles that the school uses. We have said that it is not sounding, but it is reading. So it simply means that reading is beyond just knowing sounds. Reading is far beyond just knowing sounds. Now here, that's why we didn't say seeker. It is not seeker. Sound implementation campus approach, but it is RICA. Reading implementation campus approach, because we are majorly focusing on the reading, not sounds. I'm going to give a very clear analogy that most people might just be familiar with, like numbers. Knowing number 1 to 1,000 or knowing number 1 to 1 million, they don't make a person to become a teacher of math. because there is a lot of information that a person has to know in order to teach mathematics. Yes, that's the same thing. Knowing all the sounds doesn't qualify a person to become a teacher of reading, but it supports a person to know how they can teach reading. So I believe that is very clear. So the RICA approach is not the SICA approach. It is RICA, Reading Implementation Campus Approach. And now the objective is, and that's why the main purpose of this video is for us to support children learn how to read in the starter stage. Yes, the starter stage. So the objective is, how can we support a child learn how to read within the first 2 or 3 weeks of the term? Yes. And finally, the RICA approach. We developed the RICA approach based on the challenges that we faced, because one of my experience is I repeated classes simply because I couldn't read. And since I couldn't read, we came up with the RICA approach out of my personal experience. Firstly, as a student, I repeated primary 3 times simply because I couldn't read. And secondly, as a teacher in our community school, way back in 2013, we saw that our main challenge was reading. And we tried to hire teachers who could teach reading, but most of them were not affordable. And again, they are very scarce. And then that's how we started developing our own approach. Because I also had that trauma of repeating classes because I couldn't read. So I wanted to see that it doesn't resurface in the children that I was teaching. And you can get most of this information in our book, Why Children Can't Read. Yes. So with that, we came up with the RICA approach, and we didn't just wake up in the morning and start training teachers or sharing it with schools. It took us over 5 years before we started going into schools. From 2013, I think we started training schools in 2017, 2018 there. That's when we started training schools, after amassing a lot of knowledge. And before that, we used to also to go yes to schools, but it was more of voluntary, just sharing, trying to test how the approach was. So one of the things that we have identified with the RICA approach, it is very contextualized, it is local, and it can enable children learn how to read. Yes. And we believe that the RICA approach, it can also support children learn how to read from baby class to P7, and all teachers can teach reading. A teacher of math can learn how to incorporate reading in math. A teacher of science can learn how to incorporate reading in science. A teacher of history or SST can learn how to incorporate SST in their reading in SST. And the same applies to a teacher of English. You can also incorporate your English in reading, or reading in the English. And that's the reason why we find that with the RICA approach, it's the first approach, I would say, in the entire world that started advocating for reading in all classes, majorly in the primary level. And also at times in secondary, because they have also trained teachers in secondary. Why did we start doing that? Because of my past experience. I reached P5, but my reading level was of a child of grade 1, P1, very low. I couldn't even write my own name. I just crammed it. So with that, we wouldn't like it to resurface in the learners that we teach. The RICA approach, we have the RICA rhymes. The RICA rhymes. And purely these ones, they fuse the traditional learning with that modern way of learning and teaching learners. We have the RICA games. We have the RICA books. Then we have the RICA materials. We have the RICA manuals. We have the RICA assessments, basically for the teachers and the learners, and other things, yes, like the RICA workshops and so many things. Now, the main objective of the RICA approach is at least to support any school, big school, small school, starting school, parent, teacher, to learn how to teach reading organically. Because we believe that In the 21st century, reading shouldn't be our challenge as Africans. Reading shouldn't be a challenge in the entire world. So we are teaching reading in a simplified way. And in this full course, we are going to take you through an approach that can enable a child, a starting child, learn how to read within the first 3 weeks of the term or 2 weeks of the term. But we wouldn't have started with that before you understanding what the RICA approach is. We have worked with so many schools. We have worked with schools in Uganda, first-class schools, second-class schools, third-class schools, privileged, underprivileged community schools. We have also worked with the Ministry of Education, and even the Ministry of Education in Uganda recommended our training sessions in school. That was in 2019. Yes. We have also worked with schools in Kenya, South Sudan. We have worked with teachers in Zambia. We have also worked with teachers in Rwanda. We have worked with teachers in Ghana. We have worked with teachers in Nigeria with an objective of simplifying reading and also simplifying how we should teach. So that marks the introduction of the RICA approach. If you have any questions, don't forget to always share them in our comment section or in the email that we have provided so that at least we can answer them. Now, for you to proceed to the next session, we have a couple of questions that you have to answer. Now, in the next session, you are going to dig deep into the approach, the RICA starter stage. Yes, in the next session, you're going to be looking at the RICA starter stage. This is the stage where we believe that any child who has to start reading should start with. And with it, kindly first answer this question, and then you will proceed to the next session. Thank you very much.
A bit of the RICA approach has been good because it starts from the first stage of doing everything.
Compare a teacher when you are teaching your learners like this. Now, these are just locations. And a person who puts it on the chalkboard, who will forget and who won't forget?
The one who uses the chalkboard will forget.
So as you can see, the swamp is full of vegetation, fascinated with vegetation. And
so I really encourage proprietors out there. Let them first think about the future of these children before they think of the money.
So my fellow teachers, what do I call upon us to do? Invest in yourself.
And there is no school which is better than the quality of its teachers.
The reason why we are having so many issues in education is simply because we don't often listen to our teachers.
I'm Imalingata Richard from St. Mary's Girls Primary School, Nakapiripiri District. I want to thank the partners, that is the Teachers in Need, to continue helping and motivating teachers to improve the teachers' well-being.
Especially those directors who are not teachers by profession. Yes, please be sold out. And by the way, let them also come on board and train, because there is no way, just as the facilitator was saying, there is no way you will direct something you basically don't know. Yeah, at least come and get the basics. Yeah, come and get the basics and be willing to be taught. Yeah, also that is an aspect that we need to learn. We cannot know everything. Let us respect those who have gone ahead of us, submit ourselves to them so that we can borrow from them, and then we help out others.